Alright troops, and welcome to another episode of the Flip the Mindset podcast, a platform of hope for people struggling with the pressures of modern day society, hope that we can get back from even the darkest of places. Before we continue with today's guest, I want to say we are proudly sponsored by two fantastic companies. First of all, Argue & Co Legal is a Glasgow-based law firm specialising in personal injury and employment law. They take cases on a no-win, no-fee basis to make sure ordinary people can afford to get access to legal advice. They are passionate about customer service and give every client a no-nonsense, down-to-earth, personalised service. What makes them different from every other law firm you hear adverts for on the radio is that they let you keep 100% of your compensation in personal injury cases. You can't argue with that. Most firms take 20 to 25% of your compensation as a fee. Now that's not very good, is it? If you need any legal advice, visit their website at www.argueandcolegal.co.uk and get in touch with them. Check out their Insta at argue_co_legal and their Facebook is Argue & Co Legal. Second sponsor of this fantastic podcast is A Class Above. A Class Above is an executive chauffeuring business assisting in all high-end and luxury travel requirements. Their logo, class and style in every mile is a perfect description of what they offer and what you will receive. I really like that slogan. Catch them on www.classabove.co.uk or check out their Instagram at a_class_above_ or check them out on Facebook at A Class Above. Now guys, I want you to really get behind both of these businesses. They've been very kind and sponsored this episode about mental health in football, which I think is a very prevalent and serious subject just now in our society. Something that I think we need structures and procedures put in place to make football a safer and better place to be, to grow and to benefit from. So please check the descriptions below, give them a wee click, give them a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and use these local companies who are wanting to support people like myself. So whether you need a law firm or you need a fancy chauffeur-driven journey to the dancing or to the airport, get on these guys. So, team, to today's guest, it's the one and only David Cox, professional footballer, been in the game for many years. I've played against him myself. He's played for some teams that I played for in the past. We've both got similar experiences with mental health in football, and we've both got similar experience too and having suicide attempts. So let's get into this. I want you to show your full support. Remember and like and subscribe, share on your stories, and have a great weekend. Stay safe. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Flip the Mindset podcast, a platform of hope for people struggling with the pressures of modern day society, hope that they can come back from the darkest of places. Today we've got a special guest on, Mr. David Cox, professional football, been in the game 16, 17 years?
Yep.
It's a long time to be in the game, and is just retired from an ongoing incident that has happened, a very serious incident that we'll come to later. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
I'm alright. I had football this morning, as I was saying, so I've got an amateur team now. If you want to come and trial for it, you're welcome. Training's on Sunday, 11:30. We need some players. So I've been doing that. It's been brilliant because I've been getting to play again, and obviously having a 5 knee surgery since obviously I used to play against you. It's crazy just playing. Like 7 years I've been out the game, and see just to be back playing with the boys, just the drills I was having them do today, it is brilliant. Puts a big smile on my face, and it sets me up for the rest of the week. But so you get a hell of a story, don't you? A hell of a history. All good. Some really harsh bits, some harsh things that's happened in your life. Well, let's take it back. We're going to learn a bit about you, and then we'll go into some of the subjects on football, mental health, discrimination and stuff like that. So Where did you grow up? What was life like growing up for you? Who was the David back then?
So I grew up in Lanark, a wee village just outside it called Glasgow. Grew up with my mum, dad, 2 brothers and a sister, an older brother, an older sister, and a younger brother. Me and my younger brother had a different dad for my older brother and sister. I don't think I had a good upbringing, do you know what I mean? It was never wanted for anything, kind of got everything I wanted. Mum and dad always done everything they could in terms of getting me to football, buying me stuff, whatever I wanted. I'm known as the golden child in the family, from my brothers and sisters. But one thing that I've kind of just started to speak about is probably the way my dad was with me and my younger brother when we were younger. My dad was a very angry and aggressive person, and a lot of that rubbed off in the two of us. And he used to kind of obviously wanted to bring up two young kind of hardy boys and stuff like that. The way society then looked at, you know what I mean, you should need to be a man's man and don't be scared of this, don't be scared of that. And he would make the two of us stand and fight each other and that kind of stuff. And I think as we got older, obviously it became a problem for the two of us. I would always be the one that barred my wee brother. And I think that's kind of where my problem started. Obviously seeing the way my dad dealt with things was as I say, it rubbed off on me in terms of all I knew was aggression and anger. So if it ever happened, it was you talk about fight or flight, it was always fight for me. I would stand my ground, and in a sense it's a good thing, but in others I grew up probably quite cheeky at school and stuff, and getting a lot of bother. And as I got older, I just had that kind of mindset, just this aggressive wee guy. And anytime it never happened for me, it was always anger. I'd punch things and make holes in the house and the doors and stuff like that as well. We ended up fighting with my brothers, all that kind of stuff, and like things like my dad's chased me off parts at school games and stuff, and chased me around the house with his belts and around the garden with hammers and threw bricks at me and
whoa, jeez,
and that kind of stuff. But listen, I don't really speak about my dad too much because I don't speak to him anymore, do you know what I mean? Which is still a bit of a touchy subject. I've not spoken to him for maybe the past 4 years. And my dad's always been there for me, always wanted the best for me. And that's when I find it hard, but I also need to think back and, as you say, where I think things have started for me. And as much as it hurts me to speak about it, and probably hurts him to hear it, that he needs to take a bit of responsibility for the way he was and the way he brought us up. There is some other things I could go into, but I'll know. Do you know what I mean? But aye, that's what I think. Growing up, it's, as I said, I never had a bad childhood. I was 100 mile an hour all the time. You know what I mean? My mum says I had ADHD when I was younger. I was just fucking constant. Do you know what I mean? Never sat down. And I carried all that kind of stuff into school, and I was probably seen as a problem child in certain subjects that I never enjoyed, whereas like PE, art and stuff like that, I loved it. So I never had any issues there, and I was probably a bit of a rocket at school. And then again, just kind of excelled at the sports stuff and the art stuff that I enjoyed. But as I said, that's something as I see, you've probably seen me talking a few times, and I'll speak freely, and I don't know, but I struggle to speak about that because it's something I've never really told them to. And listen, if this goes out and my dad sees it and whatever else, then I'm not blaming him for everything. I just believe that that's where things stemmed from, and as I got older, I just never knew how to deal with my emotions other than with anger and aggression and that kind of thing. So
What do you think it stemmed from? Was it, so you think that's where your problems started? Was there drink involved with your dad, or was it just that kind of hardy man growing up, two hard boys, and maybe he was just too we get it a lot. JP was on JP Gallagher, do you know he does the Muay Thai? He's one of the best Muay Thai coaches about. He's Nico Carrillo's coach, and he was on saying his dad was just brutally hard on him with sport, and he made JP fall out of love with Muay Thai, simply because he was just always bashed on, you need to be this, you need to do that, blah, blah, blah. When I'm dealing with people a lot through mental health, we do get this a lot where their dads have just been so tough on them, and it's and they grow up to have 30% of that in them, do you know what I mean? And or sometimes it can take over them. Did your brother go the same way then with his anger when he was growing up, or was he the opposite?
I think he was a bit more, he kind of kept it in a bit more than I did until I got older, I would say. He joined the army when he was 19, and he passed out after training straight to Afghanistan, and then ever since then he got shot about a couple of months into his tour and stuff like that. Ended up coming back home, and I think that's had an impact on his mental health. He's someone who, he never really gave away much. Do you know what I mean? He was always quite quiet, and that's why it was always the way he grew up. He was the kind of shy, timid wee boy, but I was, as I said, running about mental stuff. I was always a loud one. I was always the pest, and I think when my dad had this fighting and stuff like that, I've obviously, it's obviously traumatised him, do you know what I mean? To a certain extent, and never knew it. He was the same. He never really gave much away, never really spoke about any of the stuff, and as he got older, he probably drunk a bit more than, and obviously when he went to the army and stuff like that, that's what they do, do you know what I mean? They fall out all the time and stuff, and that affected him. It would come out then when he was drunk and stuff. Do you know what I mean? He would fly off the handle very easy. You can't really say much to my brother, or my younger brother anyway, without him taking it personally, and again, I think that's just years and years. They don't know how to deal with stuff and thinking that everything's against you. And I'm the same, do you know what I mean? But I've obviously been a bit more vocal, and I've had stuff to kind of keep my mind off it, like football and things like that, whereas my wee brother's probably, he was probably looked at as though he was kind of pushed to the side because I played football. Do you know what I mean? And I was seen to be the one that had the talent or whatever else, and that's, you don't see it then. When you look back at it now, you can obviously see why there would be problems there.
Yeah, probably the reason why he tried to escape it to go to the army, you know. Well, what were you fighting over? Two brothers fighting, or you just two? You just go for it. Fucking hell. Just go for it. That's tough. That's real. It's traumatising stuff.
Aye, and again, that's, you've seen me playing football. You've played against me and stuff like that as well. You've probably seen me on the park reacting to stuff, and that's just what I know. It's not because I'm a bad person, because I'm not. I'm actually very quiet outside of football. I'll help MD with anything, do you know what I mean? And I think that's where I found it really hard, is I probably had more of my mum's side, but my dad, the traits of my dad, and tried to be what he wanted me to be. And you're talking about the other boy there, who his dad pushed him and made him fall out of love with Muay Thai and stuff like that. But my dad was heavy on my case with football and getting involved with managers and stuff like that, when, you know yourself, well, that doesn't do MD any favours, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And as a young boy, I was just kind of like, I don't know, what did I do? And
very confused. You almost don't know who to be.
Aye.
What you do you let out? Do you know what I mean? Because that was always a thing. David Cox, when I played for Annie, you played for Annie in the year, but was it a year before me?
Something.
You were a hero there as well, and they all loved you. Such a great person. And then when you were on the park, he's like, he's fucking on the park, he's mental.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? You let it out.
That's what people always say to me, like, do you ever use football as a release? I've probably never used it as a release. It's probably, and because of the type of person that I'm and that I can't really, back then I would never took criticism for it, and I never took people shouting at me or boys winding me up and whatever else, and again it was just that, like, who the fuck you talking to, do you know what I mean? So I would always react like that, and it was just, it was hard because people just always viewed me as that type of person when
you're dying to let them see the other side.
And they never really knew me until maybe they'd played with me or, do you know what I mean? But it was hard.
Confusing, difficult, maybe a bit lonely.
Definitely. And if I never played football, I'd have probably been the same as my brother and went to the army. Still to this day, I'd love
for that, just that, because it's fight over the army. There's no flight over the army, is it? It's just fight. So
and I think, do you know what I mean? I'd love to do that. I applied for SAS, who dares wins, a couple of years ago. Went and get through the tests and interviews and stuff, and I actually went and done that at 6:30 in the morning before I played a game with Cowdenbeath. It was in doing bleak tests and stuff. I love that type of environment. Whereas football for me was, never used it as an escape. It was just always, whereas other people will say, I can't wait to get to football just to go to the house and get away from things, and because I'm in that environment where I can't feel like sometimes can't keep my mouth shut and don't like people, then I react to it. Do you know what I mean? That's where my anger and stuff come out, and that's wrong.
Has that got you in trouble off the football pitch, nights out, days out, stuff like that, or if you're out with the missus or anything?
What, the way I'm?
Just reaction, because...
Reaction, definitely. And I can 100% say I've never went out and started a fight in my life. I've been in plenty though, because you know what it's like, do you know what I mean? And I don't know what it is, like people maybe see because I'm a wee stocky guy, they think, well, have a wee shot at him or whatever. And again, my reaction is, I'll never start, but if you start me, like, I'll go for it. That's it.
It's coming.
And it has got me in trouble. Been in trouble with the police. Do you know what I mean? Spent a couple of nights in the cells and whatever else, and nearly lost my job. I did lose my job over some things. But again, I'll never apologise for that, because, as I say, if somebody starts on you, then I'm not going to sit back and take it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. That brings with it maybe a wee bit of social anxiety and stuff like that. You know you're going out and you know there's a 90% chance that someone's going to be cheeky, and then it gets all heated, and the missus maybe there, then you're apologising to the missus, you're trying to settle down, it ruins your night, all that rubbish. That can bring with it its own...
That's what I don't
bundle.
I went out with my missus a couple of weeks ago, into town, booked a couple of places, got something to eat and that for her birthday. Just the 2 years, and then obviously we went home. But that's probably been the first night out I've had in a few years, and I don't go out for that reason. Drink for me, I'm happy to have a laugh and stuff like that. But if somebody starts, it's just a switch and I'm gone. Do you know what I mean? It's not good for me. It's not good for other people. So rather than put myself in those situations, I don't even like drinking. Do you know what I mean? I don't see the point in it. I've never been a big drinker, and probably because there's quite a bit in my family. I've seen what it does. I've seen my dad. You asked earlier, was your dad a drinker or whatever? But when I was younger, when we were born, no, I'll say no. But I've been told, and he's said his stories before. Do you know what I mean? He used to be an absolute idiot on the drink and stuff like that as well. It's
amazing. It's refreshing to hear that you admit and you accept that I'm staying off the drink because it's no good for anyone.
Aye.
You know, and I've got a pal and he doesn't stay off it. And when he's out, he's the one to react and get himself on all sorts of crap. And it's just similar kind of circumstances, and he just can't not react. It's just, and you get to see the pressure on him all the time. It's if he's just waiting for something now, do you know what I mean? As if he knows, puts him on high alert and that's just not a good way to be. It's really stressful. let's talk about the football. When did you first realise that you wanted to pursue football?
I probably only remember back to about being maybe 9, 10 and just starting to play football. Played a couple of boys' clubs teams. My dad took a few teams and stuff like that, so played there and was alright at it. Ended up playing a couple of boys' teams a few years above. Used to play as a striker, scored for fun and stuff like that, and then I eventually got picked up by Livingston. Went there for a year at the age of 12 to 13, and then from 14 till I was 20 I was at Kelly. And I think back then, like, obviously the more I get into it, I loved it, do you know what I mean? But people have asked me before, when did it become a problem for you? Like, probably when I went full time, do you know what I mean? It becomes a job. It becomes you're playing for contracts and you've got something to prove. I was doing great when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? 15, I was playing the reserves, scoring goals. Like, first team players are like, you keep playing the way you're playing, you'll be there in no time. Do you know what I mean? And then I went through a year and a half of injuries, which I think set me back massively. And then just being the person I am, and the things that we've just spoke about, and the way I would fly off the handle, the way I'd react to people in games and get sent off and involved in fights and stuff like that. Managers don't like that. Jim Jeffries certainly didn't like it. And I don't even at the time, like, I don't think he had a lot of time for young boys. It was always about bringing in the biggest guys they could bring and stuff like that as well. So, but I was probably about 9 or 10 by the time I started playing. I was talking about this all day, actually. I actually used to hate it. My cousin would always come round and chat with Dawn about, want to play football? But I was always in goals. It wasn't for me, it was just so he had somebody to shoot in, do you know, against, and I get into it that way. But
completely used. Like the only time my big brother took me to the park with his mates was, are you going goal, wee man? Right, good.
But and that's when it started, and then, as I say, a few boys clubs, and then into the pro youth setup.
Class. And I got the chance to see you play and played against you. You were a phenomenal player, huge talent. You shouldn't have been playing in the lower leagues of Scotland, that's for sure. Why didn't you think do you think it was because your anger and stuff like that? Because when I think back, you trained really well and all that, did you not? Mm-hmm. And you in games you were an engine, so everything was there. You know, I couldn't believe you were still where you were. It
was never my attitude towards football. It was my attitude towards everything else, probably. As you say, I trained hard, trained well in games. I run through a brick wall for you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never the most technically gifted player, but I'd score goals, I'd get in behind. Do you know what I mean? I was strong even for my size. That kind of thing. And I genuinely do believe that the things that have went on for me has probably stopped me from getting any further than obviously the lower leagues. I've had problems with management. Like, I left Kelly age of 20, played with Annan for 3 seasons. Paul Hartley took over Alloa, they won the league. Obviously played against him. He's liked what he's signed me. And that's when it all started going wrong.
Oh, was it? Talk to me about that.
So I remember Stuart Level phoning me, so Paul Hartley's interested. Once you sign with Alloa next season, in League 1 it would have been, no Division 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I was buzzing, man, like ex-Scotland international, played for Celtic, played for Hearts, big names, you know what I mean? And even when you played, you wanted to impress, do you know what I mean? Just because of who he was. And so I went and met him at Dakota with Stuart Lovell, and I spoke and set a deal and shook hands on it. Met in pre-season, and then I was going through a really rough time then. For whatever reason it was, I can't remember, but really, really down. It was just coming into the kind of pre-season side of things. I was nearly eating and stuff like that, and I'd lost a lot of weight. But I'd still been going and doing my training and stuff, and probably the fittest I've ever been as well at that point. Mm-hmm. Played a few games, and then I had to speak to them one night. I'd self-harmed, I'd cut my arms and stuff, and I just went in and spoke to him, and again, it was just sitting with like, me and you across the desk. He just kind of was like, didn't know what to say, that kind of thing. And he's like, listen, look, we'll sort it, don't worry about it. And then I got a phone call off him, came and met me in Lanark. We went and get lunch and stuff, and we spoke about things, and he was just kind of like, listen, football's not an issue now, let's get you sorted, back playing when you're ready, but we first sort out this. And he spoke to my dad as well at one of the games, told him the same kind of thing. And a couple of weeks later, I went into training, trained obviously in the park at Alloa. I don't know if you remember the two McCall brothers. So they played at the time, and that was like, they were like teachers' pets. Do you know what I mean? So we played a wee small-sided game, and they were in the same team. And I remember it as clear as day. And I have to get the ball, and I've kind of skipped between the two of them. And the older brothers, I think was it Ryan? He's took a swipe, and he's just fucking volleyed me, man. He's just volleyed us. So I've turned around and I'm been like, what are you playing at? And he just gave it a whole swaggering up to us and chest into each other and that. And then Sparky's ran, put his arms around me, and Ryan's done fucking both scudded us. So I fucking lost the rag, man. And tried to get him, I'm going to fucking not fuck at you and me getting this changing room. And Paul Hartley was nearly there that night. So it was Paddy Connolly. And inside, and obviously nobody really knew what had happened and stuff happened that quick. And Paddy came in and he's like, you caused that, you done this, you done that. I'm like, fuck off, man. Are you kidding me on? He's like, nah. I was like, do you want me to do it? Fucking whatever. All the boys, Simmy and that, came in, calmed us down and whatever else. I left with him because I used to travel with him and stuff. He's like, listen, man, don't worry about it. Like, we'll get it sorted. You never done anything wrong. I mean, he's lifted his hands and whatever else. And I got a phone call the next night, and he's Paul Hartley. Coxie, I'm like, Gaffer, he's like, you're sacked, don't come back. I'm like, what? He's like, that's you, you're done. I'm like, what, why? Like, he's like, nah. I was like, you even got to let me explain and talk? He's like, nah.
It's an absolute disgrace.
Put the phone down on me. Just put the phone down. And I never heard from him again until a couple of years ago. I spoke to him. In fact, it was the session after that one. He phoned me and I'm like, fucking, just been sacked. And I don't care what MD says, it was nothing to do with that session at night. It was a case we don't need to deal with shite now. So we'll get him out the door. And I know it's a fact because, as I say, when that was the first one I went to at Broadwood, I was there, I can't remember who I was there by, right, but there was a couple of us. And then the second time I went, I got asked, we're going up to Alloa. All right. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's where I was when all this stuff started and whatever else. So I was a wee bit nervous about going up. But then I'm like, I don't know why, but it's just in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking about Paul Hartley. And I've walked in the old changing rooms, into the way changing rooms, and he's there. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me on? This is a bit of a mental health thing. And he done to me, and now he's there to fucking represent. Brilliant. So this is the first time I've ever had the chance to be in his company. Like, I've seen him, I've played against him a few times. We played Peterhead when I left, and he was always like, all right, Coxie, all right. And I'm just like, fucking swear to God, man, I smash you, man. And then a couple of times after that, I got over it, played against him, I was at Forth, and he was a Dundee manager. He came up and he shook my hand. I shook his hand, and I'd kind of forgotten about it and whatever else. But obviously this day I've turned up, and I'm just like, I don't believe this, man. My fucking stomach was going. I was nervous, I was shaking, because I always wanted to ask him, like, why? But anyway, we got done our stuff and went out around about the park, and we had to talk to each other and all that for the cameras, and I'm just like having to put on this face when I was like, and none of you know what's happened here, do you know what I mean? And at the very end, we'd done a wee bit up the top end of the park, and then the game started, so we had to walk all the way around, and we're walking around. I was like, just ask him. And I was like, can I just ask you a question? And he was like, listen, I didn't realise how bad it was for you and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, but I was like, you never even gave me a chance. Like, you never even let me explain. But he just kept being like, I didn't know how bad it was. Do you know, I never even get as much as an apology off him. Do you know what I mean? It was just but I didn't know. And that's when I knew. That's when it was confirmed that it was nothing to do with the incident that happened. Yeah. It happens to train all the time.
Yeah, it does.
How many times the boys smack each other and whatever else in changing rooms, and it's like fucking cut it out, get on with it. Any
So can some things make things better?
Aye. So it was then confirmed. That's why I was let go. I always knew it, but it was confirmed then. And I felt better after that, like getting it off my chest that I'd spoke to him. Do you know what I mean? Maybe, even though it was 6 years down the line, that I had to wait. But aye, that's what happened at Alloa, and obviously they say they've got to try and sack me, but when Fraser Wishart and stuff like that get involved, they're like, this is not going to go down well for you. Just let them. And this is another thing that annoys me. Any time that I've done interviews and whatever else with the papers, I've been told in the quiet, don't mention that. Don't talk about it. Like, why not? We're talking about how all this stuff needs to be stopped and the stigma around about it and people getting affected by people saying stuff in the part and that. But see, these managers are doing this, they're just as bad.
I've said before in a football podcast that management in Scotland is a huge issue, and a huge problem, and a huge, I would say, catalyst for poor mental health in football clubs. They don't care. Doing that just really irritates me, man. It's kind of like you're sacked. What? Mm-hmm. You know, and when you're telling me that story, because I've played football with you, against you, at the same level as you, I can envisage that happening. I know the way it goes. We all know the way it goes, and there's snakiness and that kind of stuff. I can imagine the assistant Paul getting the wrong end of the story and then sacking you. It just shows you how we've got a real void that needs filled with the right people as well. It's all right, X this, X that. Who gives a shit if they're not right for the job? Do you know what I mean?
Man management up here's horrendous.
A lot of time for just partly as well, and I'm just like that now.
I'm not gonna kid on that a day, man. I've no time for a guy at all, because I know I'm not the only person it's happened to. And again, I've never really spoken about it because I've been told by people for the PFA, like, don't mention that, because
good you've spoken about it on here, because this is for honesty and it's for mental health. I don't care who comes and emails. I don't give a shit.
People talk PFA about like, sticking folk in and being a grass nut, but it's nothing to do with that. Do you know what I mean? It's maybe if stuff like that had been dealt with back then, I wouldn't have went through some of the stuff that I did later on. This
can end a life, right? That there happening there, right? Mm-hmm. If you were a wee bit more unhinged.
Well, right? I tell you what, when after that happened, I ended up in Ward 1 in Wishy. All right. And then after I was released, I went up to New York and I took a rope and I tied it around one of the metal poles at the very first waterfall you come to New York, and I sat there for hours and hours, and I had it around my neck, and I was sitting on a ledge. And all I had to do was just step or even slip, and that was it. It was done, because there was no getting up for it, there was nothing helping, do you know what I mean? And I sat there for hours and hours after it, and I was just like, just to wake up every day, like, thinking about how I could kill myself, how I could do it quick and whatever else, do you know what I mean? And that was just a few days after that. So you're saying it could end a life. It nearly did. Yeah. It nearly did, and that's why there needs to be something done about it now, do you know what I mean? There's no if, buts and maybes and whatever else, and people keeping their mouth shut just to keep managers or players or whatever else. If somebody's done something that can affect somebody in that way, then it needs dealt with.
I think there's two things. There's footballers, as you know, growing up footballers, they're too scared to say anything to managers. They're too scared to come out and speak about anything. Oh, it might ruin my chances, I might do that. The honesty's not there, you know what I mean? It's you get players that will come out and they won't say anything bad because they don't want to be viewed differently, or they don't want maybe hassle off fans or something like that. Go out and tell the truth. Mm-hmm. I told the truth about when you seen me in my struggles with wrapping my knee up with anything I could wrap it up with. I would have wrapped it up with rope and taken all my cacodamols and getting my addiction to cacodamols at the time, because Jim Chapman was saying it was on my head. Remember that? It was on my head. I'm 5 major knee surgeries later. Mm-hmm. 5 knee surgeries, 5 recoveries in the hospital. And I was the same. It led me to the most awful place ever, because they don't want to know anything about mental health. They don't want to know. It's just not happening. There are some managers, I like what Barry Ferguson does, with the boys at Kilty, he makes sure every session he goes round and talks to them all. And obviously Matty Flindsay, you know Matty, mind, he had a lot of hard stuff going on in his life. He lost his mum and dad and all that, and they all love it there, mate. It's like that personal touch. And he when he was on the podcast, he was talking about, we need this man management, we need this more personal level of management and coaching. We need to go down, talk to the boys, almost get, you know, we need to be in their head in a positive way to try and maybe have an influence on other factors of their life, whether it's sending you for help, or whether it's, you know, being the guy that you have agreed to in the car behind all, like, away from all the other boys. That could save you. And it's just, it's infuriating that what's going on, and we see it, and it's still happening now. As I say, with my mental health line, and when people phone me, so many footballers email me in, and they're having the same problems and the same, well, in Scotland and Scottish teams, and they've got no help, and they feel so alone. And whether it's injuries or nobody to talk to at the club, or mental health, and they're not getting listened to, it's upsetting.
There's no nearly enough stuff in clubs to help players like that, or as you say, mate, they don't care. It's just all about winning games. Are you fit to play? Can you play? If no, well, who else can play? Do you know what I mean? It's no what's up, what's wrong, what can we do to help you? Do you know what I mean?
It's absolutely
and that's like, I think I'd like to actually get into the coaching side of this stuff for that reason. Do you know what I mean? All my managers I've played under have just been old school. And that's no, we can't approach it like that anymore, do you know what I mean? Maybe that's a reason why they are the way they are, just because of the generation they grew up in, do you know what I mean? But they need to move with the times and understand that what's going on in boys' head and what happens. You know what it's like, mate, boys don't get picked, you're playing one week, you don't get picked the next week, they don't explain to you why, they don't...
What I used to think is, what I used to kind of see was, I used to think many players just get used and abused.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds weird, but abused, and you'd be sitting in a changing room with 24 in a squad, and you'd maybe have 19 of them were just little boys.
Right.
They wouldn't say boo to anyone, they wouldn't even talk back, they would just take all the shit in the world and take it home with them. And you see it having a huge effect on them. Then you would have a couple of the maybe hardy boys in the team, and maybe an older boy who's more mature, and they would kind of be the ones that would maybe say something. And it was just, see, when I look back at it now, you see it much more. But then people are going to watch this, and we're going to get backlash for this. We'll get hundreds of positivity, but you'll get backlash over people going, oh, it's football, you're paid for all this shit, you take it, this and that.
Well,
it's not until it's their son. Do you know what I mean?
You just come in and
it's not until it's their son going.
Or let's stand there, you and your workplace at the tappy and tell you you're shite. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you'll not be in here next week. You'll not be getting paid. And see how long they can hack it for.
And you get boys that get genuinely embarrassed. They'll be chalk red and nearly greeting. They'll be getting this and that and this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Listen, don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place in football for when you get through boys and whatever else. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I'm probably one of the worst for it when I'm playing. Do you know what I mean? I
you
think,
are very vocal, and with other boys, if they've done something wrong, bam, bam, bam on them.
But that's just
quite
the way,
right.
and that's just the way it was for me when I was at Kelly. But the more I look back at it now, there's a time and a place for it. You're there to win. End of the day, that's what it's about. Do you know? So we can't just keep going about putting it in room, folks saying it's all right, it's all right, it's all right.
Of course.
It needs to then, something needs to come of it. And then as humans, we get ratty. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we should be able to come off the football park and talk to each other and say, listen, I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you or whatever else. And I found myself getting a bit better at that as I got older. I was never too good at it when I was younger. But I think that's kind of more, it's a hard environment to be in. And especially for somebody who struggles with any sort of problems at all, whether it be mental health issues, gambling, drinking, drugs. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to open your mouth about it because you're scared of what's going to happen to you, or the way you're going to be looked at and judged, and then you're going to be out of a job and all that kind of stuff. So it's a harsh environment to be in.
It is. It's a tough environment. I loved every minute, except for my mental health struggles and my knee struggles. Loved every minute of the game, and it is. You look back and you see the people that were crumbling under the pressure and crumbling with their own mental health and alone, and you just wish there was someone in to maybe talk to the boys. And see, if you're an old school manager, bring a coach in that maybe can get to their level. Do you know what I mean? I just think no one's in it for that side. They're not in it for the human touch anymore. They're not in it for that. It's in to win, no win. It's almost, we've created that. Like, I'm a fan of Rangers. What team do you support?
Celtic.
So you're a fan of Celtic. Us as fans, we want, when it comes to Rangers and Celtic, nothing's never good enough. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's, get that done. No, this and that. And we're so high pressure, and you feel like that is on the lower leagues as well. The same kind of approach when you're not playing for 20 grand a week, like your Taverners and Edwards and stuff like that. We are playing for a few hundred a week, if that. Some of the boys are playing for £40 a week, and they're away working 50, 60 hours in a painter and decorator's job with 2 kids and their wife saying they're away from home too much. It's difficult. I've actually tried to coax it out of a few people in the podcast, a few footballers, but they won't go into it. They just don't want to open the worms with it, and that's tough. So I talked to a lot of players, right, and growing up, and this is going to be an interesting one for you. When they're growing up, they always have that figure that's had that positive driving influence on their life, whether it's in their personal life to make them better as a person, or for you, football. Who was that person for you?
Being honest, I don't know I have any.
No?
No. I know that's probably a bit, you can like how, and there's obviously always somebody there, but off the top of my head, no, I don't. A lot of my stuff was just drilled into me with my dad, and you're going out to play and that's it, and this is what you need to do, that's what you need to do, and that's it. It was a lot of pressure, it was a lot of stuff like that.
So was it always just high intensity?
Constant, just constant. It was just like, my life was just to live at 100 mile an hour constantly, you know what I mean? It was never, I think a lot of the time, when my dad would say something, people running about him were scared to open their mouth, do you know what I mean? Whether they agreed or disagreed. In fact, do you know what? I tell a lie. My dad used to take amateur teams and that as well, and I would go and play with him, train with him and stuff, and I'd always get a good laugh with the older guys and stuff like that as well. And I became very, very good friends with one of the guys, to the point he was actually my best man at my wedding. So he's a few years older than me, obviously. His name's Patty. There was 2 of them, was Paul and Patty. Paul was really good pals with my dad, and as I grew up for a while, as I got older, maybe into my later teens, he was kind of another father figure type thing, but Patty was always the more sensible one, and he would always tell me to kind of keep my head down and do this and don't listen to your dad about that, but in the quiet, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's always been somebody who's always been there for me through everything I've been through, do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how long we don't see each other or whatever else, it's always the same. So I've had to pick somebody who's been a kind of positive influence with him, just for the things he stands for, his morals, even when it comes to kids and stuff. As I've grew up when I became a dad, so not just in football, do you know what I mean? It was just somebody in life who I always looked up to, and as I say, to this day, do you know what I mean? He'll always be my best pal and that kind of thing. So I was telling a lie there when I said, but it doesn't just come in football. Do you know what I mean? It's in life in general. And for a young age, he was there and he was always about. And as I got older, he became me and him just kind of became like that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolute class. He gave you that wee bit of what you were crying out for, that wee bit of comfort that you were probably crying out for. That's magic, man. When did you first start let's talk about your personal mental health. When did you first notice, like, my mental health's poor, or there's something not right here?
Probably when I started self-harming, age of 14, 15. As I say, obviously I was talking about when I used to smash things up in the house, and that was just how I dealt with anger and breaking things and whatever else. And it then got turned into, obviously, like how can I make myself feel better? How can I get a release for something? Do you know what I mean? It was just started to be like cutting myself with knives and stuff like that. And I've got loads of wee scars you can see under my tattoos and things like that. Started off quite small, and then as I say, they obviously got a bit more serious, and that's what the bigger scars are, like cut right across my arms, even cut into my muscle and stuff like that. It was that deep. And as I got older, it was just things snowballed, and I took 2 overdoses. My mum found me one night before she went to work. She came in to check I was alright, and she was like, "What's up with you?" My lips were blue and stuff like that. And so if she never came in that night, it would probably be maybe a different story. But
what was the? Sorry to interrupt. What was the build-ups to that moment, or these moments? Do you know what I mean?
I think the anger inside was so much, like I can't even explain it. It was just, and hitting things and breaking things, and it never gave me anything anymore. Do you know what I mean? I ended up with just obviously sore hands. I couldn't move my fingers for weeks and stuff like that. To then the point where I started cutting and I was getting a wee release for it. And
so it was actually giving you that mental
just calmed
release.
me down, just calmed me down for a bit. And then you felt sad, and you're like, why am I doing this? And I wasn't really understanding what was going on in my head to the point where I'm covered in scars and I'm bleeding, and I was trying to hide it, and then it just got worse and worse. It was, you wanted, it became the same as the punching stuff. It never done anything for you anymore. So it had to be more severe. It had to be, do you know what I mean? If you'd done something bad, I would punish myself for it, by cutting myself. Do you know what I mean?
Did you never think of going into, like, probably wasn't as big then, but MMA and stuff?
I always used to want to get into boxing. But again, it was just football stopped me from doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
How much I was involved in that. See if I could go back. If I could go back to being a young boy now, I'd 100% love to get into MMA. I'd love it.
Would have been very interesting to see if you could channel, because a lot of boys do go into Muay Thai and MMA who have a lot of anger. Barry Ferguson was on the podcast and he talked about going to anger management for his anger.
I think things like that for me, I tried it. And whether it was just the way I was feeling at the time or not, it just felt like it never worked for me. It made me feel worse.
All right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if that was just the young boy in me just being like, the fuck do you know what you're talking about? Do you know what I mean? You don't know what's going on. And they're trying to tell you, like, think about this and count to that. And you're just like, nah. That's,
you don't get a chance, do you?
No,
at a young age?
I probably didn't. I probably never gave it a chance. And as I say, I think I'm quite lucky in the fact that the stuff I've went through, I've probably not done it with a lot of help other than just my own mental kind of toughness. And sometimes it's lucky that I'm here, do you know what I mean? But I've never used one technique to go and get me out of it. It's just been a lot of experiences and a lot of knowing when it's coming, and
or grinding away,
which has been hard. It's been horrible, do you know what I mean? I think about being in that dark place again. It's just, I would never wish it on my worst enemy.
Listen, I'm exact same. I struggle so much. Feels almost daily sometimes, and it's a very tough fight. And then I come out of it for, the wee odd month or two, and it's phenomenal. You can feel again, and you're happy again, and you're laughing at jokes again, and you're really appreciating things again. And then it'll come to that dull phase where I'm just letting life pass me by. You're not laughing at the TV anymore or anything. You're lost in your own self sadness. You know what I mean? It's brutal, and you're constant energy battling them demons in your head, isn't it? Has any of the culture surrounding football fed into your mental health, or did going to football training become your escape, or did you take the problems with you and they were always there kind of thing? I've
always took the problems with me. There's been sometimes you say when you're able to speak to boys and you can get into training one night and you feel that highly strung and you know something's coming, do you know what I mean? But then maybe as I got older, like when I was away and stuff like that, they noticed it a bit more, so they'd be like, you alright? And even just that question, be like, you got comfortable with saying, no, I'm really. And then speaking about it just before training and stuff like that, you actually felt a bit calmer then. But I always took it everywhere. I took it everywhere. There was never anywhere I felt like I could just leave it. And I think once I maybe spoke about it and get it off my chest a wee bit, that's when I played my better football and whatever else. And you knew you had a bit of support behind you. But no, it was always there. It was a hit or a miss for me. Do you know what I mean? I could be playing great, and then boom, game over. Do you know what I mean? Just, and I hate to think it like that because people just always cock say this, go, you're a fucking this and that, and you're just a wee Ned, and what you want to do is fight with boys, and it was never that. Do you know what I mean? It's just unfortunately that's how I dealt with things. And
you were a bloody good player. You were an engine. You were good. You were technically amazing. You scored goals from everywhere. Control the ball, dribble the ball. I thought you should have been playing at a much higher level, and it's that way. You had that bit about you. But so do many players. Do you know what I mean? When they were younger, your Kenny Marshalls and all that stuff. Some serious players. They had that wee bit about them.
So, but when I played obviously with Gary Bowling and stuff, he was like, we don't want to take that side away from you because you're not the same person. You just need to try and control it a bit better sometimes. But again, it's easier said than done when the way you're feeling sometimes and what's maybe went on the day before you're playing a game or the night before you go to training and that kind of thing. Or boys, you know, it's like at training, man. Boys argue with each other. Sometimes I'll kind of laugh it off, and those boys will say things to you, and you're like, you feel embarrassed or you feel shit because you've done, and you're just like, who the fuck you talking to? Do you know what I mean? And it just goes for there.
Football's harder than people think. People think it's the team, and that's it. Team. But in football, especially in the lower divisions, in the higher divisions, you're always with each other. You're always about each other. You become a team. You become a glue. But in the lower divisions, it's mostly you've played for a lot longer than me in lower divisions and with more teams. I always used to feel it was mostly like 22 or 24 in the squad, individuals wanting to better their career and maybe. You know that way. It was
never about the team winning. It was about
you performing, individuality. People would sneak you in if they could, man. You know what I mean, and take your position in a second. And it was very difficult, and people don't notice that with the lower leagues. And thank God it's not just me. You've played 17 years there, and it was you and a couple of other footballers I've talked to. It's like 24 individuals in a part. There was never a team, and it was a lonely place to go. You would go to football and you were lonely. I think there was two people that were very, very good with me, and that's Peter Watson and Swinglehurst. You know Peter and Stevie well.
I know of Peter, but Big Watto. Really, I'm still really quite close with Big Pedro. He's great guy.
He's phenomenal. He used to be like that, take me to the side. You're right. And he would give me a text and all that, and that was just that was a phenomenal touch.
People like that are the difference. Big Watto messages me anytime something comes up and that, he's like, how are you, wee man? How are you, all right? Stuff like that. And the same every time we see each other, we're always cuddling each other, and that's been for 10, 12 years ago.
Big guys like that in the team are really the other difference. You're right. The ones that take the authority to then just say, you're right. Yeah, what's going on? You're just no right. You're just no. There's something wrong with you, and that wee release of just going, bleh, you know what I mean? 4 minutes of just nonsense. You're talking so quick, you forget what you've told them, and they must be like that. What the fuck? You feel like a new man. Here's a question for you: Did your mental health and your struggles, did it take the love out the game for you? Did you feel sometimes you were just turning up to training to just train? There was no love anymore?
No, I've probably the past few years it's just totally went like, and as I said, I told you earlier about training with an amateur team the other night. I told him I'd go and play for them.
Someone's just took an amateur team on here and he's went to another amateur team. I can't believe it, man. Who is it?
Wishaw High.
Fucking Wishaw. What league?
Whatever the top division is now, it's a league.
Oh God, we're not in the top division. I think we're in the third division, man.
But and I feel bad for talking about it now because I spoke to the guy after the training session with Wales and I told him I'll go and play, but I can't play until their season's finished and the new season starts because you can't bring him down for that whatever team it was you had. And I trained the other night and I don't know. I think because I feel like I've lost the love for the game, I've not got it anymore. Like, I'll pull out wee things and wee tricks and get by boys in the ball and you get wee flashes of the way I used to play and stuff, but then other times I'm just like, I fucking don't want to do this. And I felt like that for 2 years or something. Really just wanted to go, and my missus for ages, I'm going to chuck it. And financially, I probably couldn't afford it then. But, because as you say, that's what you've done, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm finding it very hard to try and get it back. I think I'd probably be more suited to get into some sort of coaching thing. But I like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be involved. I don't need to be under any pressure of playing well and stuff. And it's not because I don't.
Was the seriousness in the amateur team, was it still that serious aspect? Or?
Aye, Snow is, aye. They've got some good players.
At our team, we've got some...
Right good
We've got some good players.
Aye,
but it's more fun.
Aye.
I'll write you up a contract right now, mate. Fuck it. I've been trying to get everyone done. Steve Purden, I was on a Football Daft podcast, trying to get Steve Purden done, wee shell football for River City.
Aye.
Ryan Stevenson, I'm on at him to try and get him done, man. I want everyone to come and play for Southside BC. Aye, there is some phenomenal players in these amateur teams, especially this top division.
But I think that just shows you what football's like in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many players out there that could play in the low divisions.
Easy.
Nae bother. And it's just not worth it.
They don't want to. They don't see the pros to it.
It's not worth it. It's easy to have a good job and go and enjoy playing football with your mates.
Or junior, where you might get a wee bit of money for it. Junior, you know, I used to get good money playing junior for 3.5 years. I would get good money, so my job, and then I'm getting a couple $100 on the top of it. You know what I mean? It was brilliant. Felt rich.
I know.
You know what I mean? But people will do that instead of going professional because of the seriousness and that. I felt junior, it was a team.
Aye.
What a team. Just everyone around you, just brilliant. No, they would drag you along with them. You know what I mean? They would pick you up. Amateur, a team. It's just a great laugh.
But I went the other night. The boys were having a laugh and a carry on and whatever, and you can see that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I don't know if it's too soon. After all this, like the past few weeks has been crazy, mate. Like the amount of stuff that I've done like this and speaking about it, and what I used to do before, when I spoke to the news and the papers and whatever else, I would do a couple of days and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, man. It's fucking mentally draining. But I made a statement with them what I'd done the last time, and I need to try and kick on for it, and something needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? So if I can be a voice for people in lower leagues of football and any type of football, do you know what I mean? I'm not a world class player that's come out and hang with it and try to hang with it, but I'm somebody who's real and who's lived it, and came through the other end of it, and I feel I just need to kind of push on and keep doing what I'm doing now. So I think maybe the football side of things is going to maybe need to take a wee back step, and for however long, I don't know. And if that's me done, then right now I'm not worried about it. It doesn't give me any bad feelings or that. Or it is what it is. I've got other things to concentrate on, but this right now is big for me. I've dealt with it for too many years. There's obviously other players dealing with it as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's hundreds of players dealing with it. Yeah, I think I like what you said there about, you know, you're not a world class player, but you've lived the experience. There only seems to be change in football if like Marcus Rashford or someone comes up and does something. You know what I mean? Fans and committees and all that stuff will only really push for it when someone phenomenal makes a statement. Like,
it's just how the world is these days with social media. And
Rashford, or if Tavernier came out and talked about it, or Scott Brown or anything like that, there would be a change like that. Nothing gets done until, one, someone like that comes out, two, there's a suicide. Does it need to go to that? Like,
and that's the thing. Like, people have asked me as well, what do you expect to happen with the investigation that comes out of this thing that happened the other week? And my honest opinion was nothing. Like, how many times have I been in the paper and spoke about stuff that's happened? And if the SFA once ever went, how did that feel for you? What can we do as a governing body to make sure our players are safe? What can we put in place? Not once have they ever asked. Do you know what I mean? And what will happen at the end of this? Probably nothing. What should happen? That's not up to me to decide, but something needs to change.
No, I think it will. I think something will happen, Davey. As
you say, mate, it's always what if when it's too late, or what could we have done when it's too late.
Yeah.
Because as I said, and I said as well, like that could have been the end of the line for somebody.
Yeah.
I'll take it on the chin all day. You can say it to me, it's going to affect me, it will affect me, it has affected me, it will continue to affect me. But I'll take it on the chin, and then I'll try and speak about it and be a voice for people. But there's other people who will not handle it. And no because of any other reason, and we're all different. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have been the same person. That could have been a totally different outcome.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? I've just managed to get myself into a place where now it's like the norm for me, which is wrong, but I take it and I'll have a few shitty days or a few shitty weeks and I'll get back on top of it.
When I do a podcast, and especially when I do one that I'm talking in a lot, because obviously my podcasts are discussion between two people, me speaking, you speaking, me speaking, you speaking. It's not just interviews we do. But when you're coming out and talking about mental health, it
drags you down,
oh
mate.
My God, the next couple of days you're flat, aren't you? And you're really
Mentally.
thingy, so I can imagine what you're going through. I think there will be change, and I think there needs to be change. I'll back you 100% through this, however I can, putting charity stuff on, putting something on, and I'm sure loads of other people will too. It's just getting them on board, people who aren't scared to take on a couple of people. There's people sitting in the high seats, as we know, SFA, stuff like that they just don't put any of this crap in.
You wonder as well though, like, if it's ever touched any of them. If it's ever touched them in their families or that, and you would think that
Mental
if it
health?
is, aye.
100%. 100%.
So why would people then need to take it up and just say, like, this needs to stop? Do you know what I mean?
It was just never it was just, do you remember at clubs, right? I said this in other podcasts. Remember they used to get a mindset and mental health guy in to tell you to look after yourself and stuff like that. Do you not remember all the team used to just laugh and all that and not take him serious? We would just sit and talk through the whole thing. And he would literally be in as if he's going...
The guy would be looking there as though, like, would be getting all nervous and whatever else and feeling like these boys don't give a shit.
But the managers would be worse. They would be like, oh fuck, we need to bring this fucking guy in, man. You're going
to belong 5 minutes to me to go.
No, I mean, we're going to bring this guy in. Oh, fucking just give him 30 minutes, not, and then we're back in the training park. So, probably didn't listen to any of it. I was probably guilty of it as well, just like... You know what I mean? And am I supposed to listen?
We've spoke about that, and I spoke to my wife about that as well. See, I would happily go in clubs and speak like this, and I would happily take pictures and show them that this is really what mental health is. Like, do you want to know the effects of not talking about things and whatever else? And I'll put pictures out in front of them, and I'll show them pictures of me lying in a hospital bed with my throat wide open. Do you know what I mean? And saying that's what happens when we don't speak. That's what happens when things get too much. That's what happens when you're ignorant and you laugh about stuff like this and you just fuck it off. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it needs to get to. That's, do you know what I mean? I'll show people my scars. I've not got a problem with it. You know what I mean? Covered from here to here and scars. And if people want to see that kind of stuff, for it to really hit home, then I'd happily go around and show them that. Do you know what I mean?
That could be something to look at. Hopefully you get time to do it. Do you know what I mean? And you get the respect and time that's needed for you to go in and chat, because I've got that hanging in the back of my mind. Will people take it seriously? Will it be another one like that guy used to come in and... You'll get
people who will want to listen to it, but then you'll also get, you know what it's like, mate, it's changing rooms. The ones that want to listen to it will not listen to it because of the fear of whatever else thinks about them.
It's just mentalness. I think player wise there'll be so many players that need it and will want to listen, but maybe
see the amount of boys that keep me after I've done stuff and been like, by the way, that was brilliant, and I've actually been meaning to message you and that and stuff, and do you know what I mean? So there is boys out there that want to speak, but they'll not say it in front of you.
Honestly, I get this all the time. They're like, oh, don't share my wee story, you know, because sometimes I'll share people's stories on my page. Don't share my wee story. I don't want, no one knows. And I'm like, please just go out and say. Just say to your manager, please just go to him, go to the wee woman. You know, there's always like a wee woman that said they call it physio or something like that. Just speak to someone.
Club chat ones and stuff. I've formed a few friendships
There was a good chat when at Annan, wasn't there? When
Aye.
he was still there. When
Neil.
Yeah.
Neil.
So,
Aye.
you know.
I've actually been I really still keep in touch with a lot of them for every kind of club and stuff like that. But aye, mate, it's just there's so much goes wrong in football, and as I say, we spoke about Paul Hartley. He's not the first person to do it. You know what I mean?
There's a boy now that talks to me for Celtic. No names for who it is, and he's going through a torrid time, and he just feels he can't open up. And it shows you that even at some of the top clubs, it's still stigmatised. And it's not just the clubs, it's not just the managers. We're not just getting at clubs, managers, fans, us, players and all. We've got the responsibility as well as players to go to people. You know, we need to help ourselves too. We need to feel comfortable to call out, but we need to reach out. We need to cross the line and reach for help, ask for help.
Aye.
You know, we need to be accountable too. Let's not forget that. You know, my mental health, I know nowadays, I didn't think when I was younger, I know nowadays I'm accountable for my mental health. I need to keep fit, I need to go my walks, I need to take my medicine that I take, my mental health medicine I take. I need to do a wee bit of meditation now and again. I need to do affirmations now and again. I need to talk to a couple of my best pals now and again. I need to confide in my mum now and again so she's in my loop and she knows what's going on. I know I need to do all these kind of things to keep me going. If I pull out of some of them and don't do them for a week or two, I can actually feel myself slipping, and when I slip I have to bring myself up. So we're all so accountable, but
everybody's responsible for how they deal with things and whatever else ultimately. But for some people who have never done it before, that's where it's hardest, and it can take people like me and you to go, and it's just as simple as, are you alright? Which can start it off. Some people are not ready to hear that nobody's going to fix it for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people are
not ready
to hear that. And ultimately that's just how it is. Like, nobody's going to pick you up, take you to the doctors, nobody's going to make all your phone calls to you, nobody's going to make you take your tablets. Like, if you take them, it's ultimately down to you. And I've learned that the kind of hard way. But there's things we can do to help people along the way and just give them that, as you say, that we push over the line.
Absolutely. I heard in 2019 you tried a suicide attempt for being abused by your mental health or confronted by your mental health. What happened then?
That was just too much everything, I think. So I was playing for Airdrie. No, I'd signed for Forfar at the time. Gary Boland signed me at Forfar. I was working full time for Barrett as a labourer. I was playing. In fact, I might still, was that Airdrie? Can't remember. But anyway, I was training twice a week and playing football, and I had also started the gym. So it might have even been 6 years ago. So I was working 7 days a week, non-stop, constant. I started new tablets. Did not agree with me at all.
What was the tablets?
Citalopram.
That's what I'm on now.
And as far as I'm led to believe, I spoke to a doctor, and apparently I probably should never have been put on them. They're no ideal for males. So I've heard, don't know. I'm only just saying.
Everyone will react different, of course.
Different. 5 months later, being on the tablets and constantly working like this, I slit my throat.
Wow.
I done it in front of my wife as well. So I not only done that to myself, but I've left her traumatised for stuff.
How did that come about? That's the scar there. You see it?
You kind of quite a good crease line, right. But it goes for there.
Jeez,
and finishes a bit here. And I done a wee interview the other day for a Sport Bible, I think it was, and I spoke about this. And I think the fact that I'm left-handed saved my life, because I started from right to left. I stopped just before my jugular vein.
Oh, fucking
hell. I remember I was took into hospital, and my wife was pulled to the side, and she was like, "We don't know how this is going to go." He's like millimetres for his jugular vein. I had to be stitched inside, outside, and then I was actually transferred to an ENT ward.
Wow.
Nobody spoke to me for 3 days. Nothing. Like, today with nobody, no mental health nurses, nothing today with anything. I was left to take my tablets myself after having previous of overdoses. I was left with my belt and stuff like that after previously trying to hang myself, knives, forks, whatever else, so that kind of stuff. I was allowed to shower myself. My wife came into the hospital, like, where is he? Oh, he's just taking a shower. And she's like, he's fucking kidding on, like, you've left him in there with all his stuff, he's just tried to kill himself. And the wee woman's like, oh, we didn't know, he's been put in this ENT ward and whatever else. And again, still 2 or 3 days before a mental health nurse came to speak to me. And ultimately what happened was I was given a card, take that, you'll be seen within 16 to 18 weeks. If you feel like doing that again, just give us a wee phone. Sent on my way. That was the last time I'd done anything significant. You were talking about obviously the shouts I've had at games.
Let's first of all talk about, you wake up in the ENT ward on the hospital bed. What's going through your mind then?
Just numb. Just, I don't know, just felt numb. It was, didn't really want to speak to MD, and I remember my wife asking me things like, did you really want to die? And I was like, aye. No, really. Like, obviously she was still a bit kind of like, but it was always there for me, do you know what I mean? And then just, I don't know, I didn't really want to speak to MD. Just that numb feeling, I've never really felt anything, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Why did you do it in front of her? Was it an outburst? Was it like a cry for help? Was it you wanted someone with you? Or?
I get what you mean, but no, it was just I had enough and that was it.
You just all
boiled
up.
To be fair, we'd been at that day and we had a couple of drinks and stuff as well. But had a great day, nothing wrong at all. Nothing at all. And then just, I don't know, I think maybe once you start to get in the house and you're just yourself, you're not thinking about anything other than these things start to go through your mind, and you're just like, I was just like, you know what, fuck it, man, buff. Never felt a thing. I actually done it and left the house. Walked out, no tap on, jeans, fucking blood pissing everywhere, man. Walked round the corner, but I could remember her, she was hysterical, screaming. She obviously phoned the ambulance, phoned the police as well, and didn't know what to do. And I'd walked in the corner in the street, and I remember I sat just in front of a grit bin and just kind of sat like that. And police have come flying in about 5-10 minutes later or whatever, and they've kind of approached me, and I've just kind of got up and I've been like, don't come near me, just leave me. As I've stood up, my necks just went buff, opened up, man, and I've fucking been my heart. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't come near me. Until the ambulance get there. So it was a traumatic experience, to say the least. But
there's got to be a lot of pain, a lot of darkness. I mean, I've been there myself, and I often get thoughts of suicide.
People call people who end their lives or try to end their lives cowards, and it's the easy way out and stuff like that, but I can tell you right now, it's not easy to pick up a knife and cut your throat wide open.
For me, it's one of the toughest things a human can do.
Or stand.
Nothing selfish about it. It's the pain that you're going through, and to take your own life, to go against your instincts to stay alive is incredibly petrifying, you know. And you've got to understand the pain that must be going through someone's, for people watching who might not know much about it or might not have had depression or suicidal thoughts, the pain that must be going through someone's head, the pain, the demons, the constant thoughts, the racing mind, the constant doubt, the guilt, whatever it is going through to make that decision must be pretty incredibly overwhelming, and that's why I get so upset and frustrated and annoyed when people say things to me on the park and stuff like that, because I'm like, you've got the first fucking idea where I've been,
And I'm not saying my mental health's worse than anybody else's, and I've always said that everybody's obviously experiences are different, and how we deal with them are different. And just because people say to you, well, what you got to be worried about, just because there are people a million times worse off than I am, all right? But to be in the loneliest place you can be, you can't compare it to anything else. You can't compare it to other people's problems and whatever else.
No, everyone's is different.
Everybody's is different, and everybody's at their worst.
Yeah.
Is the worst they're going to feel.
If someone's about to genuinely take their own life, they are at the worst a human can possibly feel. For me, I'd rather be dirt skint lying in a ditch with, like dirt poor lying in a ditch with whatever, than be in that point. I want to physically take my own life, and I've been to that point once that I've disclosed, and there's a few times I've been close, and it's very, very horrible. And the numb feeling after it is just, it's out of this world. Eventually, and just recently, you decided to retire from football after this incident. Now, I only know what I've read, and I never believe anything I read, so I just want to hear from you. What exactly happened then? Talk us through what happened. It was Johnny Tiffany, was it? And I think I remember him.
I was on the bench, obviously, and if you played at Steny, you know where the benches are. Just like everything else, it's quite close to the park.
It's a horrible stadium. Has it been upgraded yet?
No. It started off football related, and it just got personal and stuff, and the last thing that he says to me was, he ran by and it was, you should have fucking done it right the first time. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny because I laughed. It took about 5 or 10 seconds, and I'm like, fuck did you just say? And then it clicked, and I'm like, you fucking, do you know what I mean? It was nothing like twos or HR like that, do you know what I mean? It was just, and then it was said, and I'm like, a fucking minute, man. And I've jumped up. You know what I mean? I'm like, what did you just say, you fucking prick? And he's kind of turned around and stuff, and then obviously I've stepped on the park, the linesman's flagged the referee, whatever else, and then he started to run out and stuff like that. He's like, what? I'm like, you fucking know what you said? And you could tell straight away.
Aye.
I mean, you could tell straight away. If he never said it, they'd be like, what are you talking about? If I'd done that, I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? Talk shit, do you know what I mean? Nothing for him. And I just, you know, it's like, mate, I'm all for banter and whatever else. Do you know what I mean? I'm all for banter. I'll say to boys, you fucking prick and this and that, you smash into each other, you get caught up in tussles, you have a wee
I'll do you. I'll do you after the game and all that, then you shake hands, hug each other after the game.
But, and I'm all for that, but when you know somebody spoke out to try and help others and whatever else, and for the last comment that was made before he said that, there was about 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe. So he's had time to think about what he's going to say and then say that. Do you know what I mean? And he can deny it, he can fucking whatever else. I don't give a shit. I know what was said, I know myself, and I'm not going to back down for it. I wouldn't make something up. I'm not that type of person after everything that's happened, because I know the implications it's probably had. Listen, it's went everywhere. Social media, do you know what I mean? It's went absolutely everywhere. And I've heard that he's received a lot of shit for the back end of it. But see, at the end of the day, this isn't about him. This isn't about what he said and whatever else. This is about it as a whole.
Yeah, I think there's a bigger message here.
It's the final straw for me, because it's the 4th, 5th, 6th time it's happened. Do you know what I mean? And I've never said, open my mouth about it and whatever else. Do you know what I mean? And been told you can't call boys out, you can't, do you know what I mean? With no proof and stuff like that. I know. I would never make something like that up.
You can do what the fuck you want to do.
Do you know what I mean? So
who's going to tell you any different?
See, end of the day, see if he'd have been like, do you know what? I fucking did say it, and I'm sorry or whatever. I shouldn't have said it. Then things might not be as bad as they are. See,
it's weird because I've heard things like this said before. I've heard it in school. A gothic girl, is that defamation of character? I hope folks. A
I know, I don't know what you mean.
Get who is I got for an emo, and she was slitting her arms and all that, and then she had a thing. She was off school. She came back, and a girl that used to bully them, it said that should have done it first time or whatever. And I've heard small things being said to people, and you've read it and stuff like that. Back in the day, that would have been laughed off and not even said about it. But first of all, he's got to understand we're in a different era now. Something like that gets picked up in the football world from 3rd division to SPL, especially SPL. If it hits Twitter, it's everywhere.
Aye.
And there's no hiding from it. So he's just a very, very silly boy, and he's done it off the sly. Is that 4 or 5 times on the football park it's happened? You do get all this. I got all the racist names and all that stuff, and stuff about my knee and all that stuff. You get that, all these wee slide digs. No, banter's banter, but saying something like that, and especially in this state and age when we're having a suicide, we're hearing about a suicide nearly every single day, and it's all people that are in and around our circles. How many people do you know that have committed suicide? And many people, I know so many people, so many people that's committed suicide. It's unbelievable. It's too important a subject now. It's too serious. It's fatal, man. It's crushing so many young men and women, of course, but with men particularly. We're losing so many young boys our age and younger from suicide. So for him to have the cheek and
see the thing. Like, I've had stuff for him before, and it's been the whole, as you say, I don't know who's shagging your bird now, and that, and this and that, all that kind of stuff.
So there was a past there between yous two?
Aye.
And it's just kind of built up
there's
over
always
the
been
years.
some. But I've
when did that stem?
That was when I left Alloa. So that was a way back to fucking 2000.
Was he in the Alloa team?
He was in the Alloa team. He's signed for them just as I left, I think. Or the year later. So I was playing with Head and we got him in the cup. And he used to be all of that in, getting all that shit in. And then when we played each other, there was always a wee some. Do you know what I mean? And then this time, like, he's fucking mouthing. For the bench, should I probably shouted on, like, but with all day, do you know what I mean? And it wasn't nothing personal, it was just, fucking shut up and go on with the game, man. Stop trying to get boys. Like, I can't stand that. Try to get boys, referee, book him, get him sent off. Just fucking play the game.
Sneaky behaviour.
Do you know what I mean? And then, as I say, he gets personal with me. I say something back to him, and then he goes full hog with the mental health stuff. And it wasn't like, it's happened to me before where if I was on the park, I'd probably fucking cemented him.
What is it like the actual feeling of what it's like when another human tells you should have killed yourself the first time? Did it take you back to what's that like? Did it take you back to the time you slit your throat, or did it take you to what
I think you think about a lot of things. A lot of the stuff you've done. But then at the same time, it's just fucking anger, man. Like, I genuinely, I'm glad I wasn't on the park. I would have broken my heart him saying that to me as well, man, if he'd said that to me about my mental health struggles. We deal with this shit daily. It's no easy being in this world, and it makes me a wee bit heated talking about this. It's no easy being in this world constantly having to remind yourself you're a human and you're okay, and you know. I constantly question myself, why me? Is it just me? Is it just me? It feels like this. Like, can anybody else possibly feel this fucking bad and just keep getting on with life? Like, as you say, it's a daily thing. I'm never going to be rid of these feelings. I'm always going to have them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and as I say, it's happened in the pitch so many times. I've had to deal with it with various managers as well.
Managers can sometimes be dismissive of mental health and people's problems. Apart from the Paul Harry incident we spoke about, which is separate, has there been any other occasions or things that had happened to lead you to doubt yourself or question yourself?
Aye, a couple more. Again, I've never really spoke about them. The first after the Alloa incident with Paul Hartley, and then was when I was at Airdrie So I signed for Airdrie, Gary Boland signed me to Airdrie, and then I got offered the Forfar job,
Right.
and he left midway through the season, and he says to me, listen, I'll come and get you, like, as soon as you're able to sign, you'll be with us next season and that. So they brought in the boy, Eddie Willicky Black, who I got on really well with, actually. I'd been playing really well that season here. To give you a bit of background, when I signed for Airdrie, that's like my family's team.
Oh,
So
is it? Right.
My dad, Nat, were brought up in Chapel Hall, and
Right.
my papa, when he died, was a massive Airdrieonians fan. Left me, he's done it and programmes and stuff like that. So
Brilliant.
for me to then sign for Airdrie was a big thing for me. So I'd signed there, I've been playing great all season, scoring goals. And then Eddie obviously came in and he took over, and we were doing well and stuff like that, and at the end of it was like, listen, there'll be a full-time deal there for you, because they were going full-time the year after, and I was fucking buzzing back to full-time football, whatever else. And then Eddie had a stroke, unfortunately, and that was him. And I think him and Danny Lennon were quite pally, so Danny had agreed to come in and take over until the end of the season. And the first night of training, me and Danny had words.
What was that about?
It was just, we were doing some passings or whatever it was, I can't remember, but it was just fucking, and he said something cheeky to me, and me being me, I'm like, fucking shut up, man. So it just went for there. So for day one, it's like the two is whatever else, and he pulled me into the office and he's like, listen, I don't appreciate that, and that's not. It's like, you're one of my first names in the team sheet and this and blah blah blah, and this might actually be the week after or whatever else, but filling me full of shit anyway, alright? As managers do, tell you what you want to hear, know what you need, or tell you what you want them to hear. So anyway, comes to near the end of the season and stuff like that, and I've won Player of the Year.
Brilliant.
And then it was contract time, talking. So get pulled in by the boy Ian King. And we're releasing you. And I was like, what? He's like, I'm really sorry and whatever else, blah blah. I'm like, fucking hell, man. Like, couldn't believe it. Was promised a full-time deal and all the rest of the shit.
Did you get promoted that year?
No.
No?
But I think we done no bad. And then a couple of months down the line, I spoke to somebody. I'm no name names, but the person told me that they spoke to a news reporter, and this news reporter had spoke to Danny Lennon when he took over Airdrie, and he was asking the question, how you finding Coxie? Like, he's obviously he came out not long ago about his story and whatever else a couple of years ago, and how you finding him? Just, and his response was, I don't give a fuck about his mental health. And people say, you can't say that, and no one tell who said it, but I'm telling you, I know for a fact the person that told me is 100% would never make anything like that up. 100%. And after that, any games we played against Clyde and stuff like that, Danny Lennon, I think he came up to me, was it when I signed for Clyde? I can't remember anyway, but he came up and he actually shook my hand and he's like, listen, I'm really sorry about how things were at Airdrie, and if I could go back and change them, I would, and all that kind of stuff. And I shook his hand and stuff like that as well, but we then played against Clyde at Cowdenbeath, and it was the year that I think Clyde had to beat us and Peterhead had to get beat, and Clyde would have got promoted.
Right.
But we beat them 2-0 anyway.
Right.
And the Clyde fans fucking hate me, right? They, for whatever reason, they hate me, alright? And so we've scored, I think I've laid it off for whoever came in and scored, so we're out the fence, man, fucking, they're going absolute bananas, man. And then at the end of the game, something happens with one of the boys and attack him, so the boys are all in fucking grabbing each other, blah blah blah, and I think it was Danny Lennon's assistant or goalie coach, or one of the coaches was like, fucking, he's like, you're a fucking psycho, you've always been a fucking nutcase, ain't you, this and that. So that kind of kicked off and stuff as well, and ever since then, like, Danny Lennon couldn't look at me or whatever else and stuff. So there was that occasion, and I know that to be the person that gave me that information not lied 100%. So that's what he's told somebody. I don't give a fuck about his mental health issues. And then the second time, it's not been. This is not a dig at this manager in such a sense of mental health, because he's been there for me through a lot. You know what I mean? So when I was like, Airdrie signed me, Gary Bowen signed me Airdrie, took me to Forfar, begged me to go to Cow and Beef, which I did. Always said I would never fucking play for Cow and Beef if I was asked. But he went there. And bearing in mind, I was playing with Forfar at the time, who were doing well. Jim Weir came in, good manager. I've been coming back for injury and whatever else. And he's like, "Can we come and help us out by fighting the bottom of the league and whatever else?" I'm like, and I thought me and him were like that. I had a lot of time for him, a lot of time for him. And obviously they'd been through the whole slit in the throat thing, and any other times they gave me time off if I needed it, if I could go and speak to him. And he still played me, he always, do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But when I left Cow and Beef last year, a lot of the fans were always, he's went too far this time. Fucking need him out, need to get him this and that. But he's fucking lost the plot and whatever else. But what they don't know was the year leading up to that. So when Cove Rangers had gained promotion to the league, it was that year, just at the start of the season, I phoned the boy Flax, who wasn't an assistant manager, but he was a coach. He was good with the lads, and me and him were also very close as well. I phoned him and I'm like, "Listen, mate, I'm not in a good place, man. I'm struggling." He's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I was like, I think I'm going to have to take some time off. Like, I can't. I says, "You know how I get? I'll come into training, I get fucking involved with stuff, I end up fighting my boys, carrying like all that shit. I don't, and that's no fair. It's not how it should be. So I think I need a wee bit of, like a bit of time off." And he was like, "Got a big game this weekend." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me on, man? Like, we were playing Cove Rangers." So "You kidding me on?" He's like, "I'll just see how you feel, and I'll speak to the manager and we'll hang me there." And he was always the go-to between boys and the gaffer, because nobody would, like, gaffer didn't really speak to him, even fucking training. I was probably one of the only boys, or one of the very few boys that I could have a good conversation with and stuff. So I was like, "Well, I'm telling you, I need time off." He's like, "Well, let me speak to him and just see how you feel." If you, I was like, "Do you know what? Fuck it." I was like, "I'll play. I'll continue to play, and I'm not even going to mention it again. After everything that's happened and we've been through, and I'm telling you right now, I'm really, really struggling." I says, "But you know what's going to happen?" And he's like, "No, all right." So anyway, I never mentioned that again, and never heard anything back for Gary Bowen or about it. I didn't like that. Went and played the next few weeks. Bear in mind, he'd made me the captain as well. All right, so the next 3 months or whatever else I was playing, booked 9 times, sent off 3 times. My head was gone. I was fucking just getting involved in everything. Do you know what I mean? Arguing with referees, fucking smashing boys. And I said, I was like, it's not good. That's not the person I want to be, and that's not how I want to play. But when my mind goes, that's why I need to take the time out. So we play Queen's Park at home, and I was playing really well, and I think they were winning 1-0. And one of the boys kind of gives us a wee nudge, and he's like, "Know your fucking story, don't we?" "What do you mean?" He's like, "You know what I mean." So "I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to get you fucking wound up. You'll be sent off now. I know how to wind you up now." And 5 minutes later, I'm sent off. So, but it wasn't even like I went out and I've been like, "I'm going to get sent off." Do you know what I mean? So the two of us went in for 5 minutes later, in for a tackle, got tripped up. Same boy, 2 of us on the tangled up legs and the flare and stuff like that. He went to get up and put his hand on my throat and pushed me down. So I fucking swiped his horn away and got up, and fucking 2s have came chest to chest. Yeah. He's done all that, and I get booked. So it was just me and him at the edge of the box. I get booked. The referee went to walk away, and then the next minute, fucking the whole Queen's Park team are running about me. Every one of them, all my players are up. the other end of the park. And they've all came there, I've been like, fuck this, man, you're all surrounding me. So I fucking gave one of the boys a shoulder and I came in. Referees ran back there, yellow, red, sent off. And I'm walking off and he's like, guys, fuck, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, fucking ram your team up your arse, man. And the changing room, we came in. They won 1-0, obviously 10 men. And he came in and he was like, fucking brilliant lads, fucking this and that, with that fucking cunt letting you fucking down. And I'm like, fucking shut up, you don't fucking know what went on. He's like, well, tell me then. I was like, no. I was like, ram your team up your fucking arse, I'm off. But my wife was at the match and somebody was with Gary, was at the match as well, and they spoke. My wife obviously came down to speak to me, find out what happened. Went back upstairs, told them I've left. Got a phone call half an hour later. Listen, I've just found out what's happened. Like, don't worry, we'll deal with this, blah, blah, blah. All that kind of stuff. So everything was forgotten about then. Because he came in and he's like, I'm not fucking doing it anymore. I'm not fucking doing it anymore. I've had enough of it. And this is bearing in mind me having this conversation that I told you it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at this point, he doesn't know anything about this. All right, so this is when it starts to get fucking. So he doesn't know anything about this, and he's like, fucking had enough of it, blah blah blah. Half an hour later, listen, I found out what happened. We'll deal with it. I'll see you on Tuesday, whatever else. Just fucking keep the heat if you need anything, blah blah for me. So go back into training and stuff like that as well, and I'm like, we end up having a conversation. I was like, listen, I've been fucking seriously struggling for the past wee while. And he's like, what's going on with you now? I'm like, told him, and I says, I spoke to Flax at the start of whenever before the Cove game. He says he was going to speak to you. He's like, never mentioned it to me. And I'm like, well, there you go then. He's like, I'm going to speak to him about it and see what he says. I'll take him away home in the car. Then I whatever else. Just come in the next training session. All right, Coxie, what's happening? Blah blah blah. I went upstairs. It was just me. I'm like, oh, did you speak to Flax? He's like, aye. He says, doesn't remember the phone call. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me on? He's like, he says, doesn't remember the phone call. I'm like, are you fucking having a laugh, man? I was like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. How do you forget something like that? So at this point, I'm just like, not even angry, I'm just fucking disappointed, and I'm just like, fuck this, man. Like, and by this point, I've just been like, I've not got any time for these now. After everything, I was like, so what's going to happen then? He's like, well, I've asked him, he said this, and I was like, so that's it? Pretty much, aye. I'm like, fucking, so after that, I'm like, I need to get out here and whatever else. So I spoke to Libby for back on side.
Yep.
Libby. So
yeah.
The gaffer spoke to the chairman. Chairman and the gaffer decided they would meet me at a hotel. So I've went with Libby. She's met with the two of them, and we've sat down, and Donald Finlay, brand new. Obviously, when people see him, they're kind of like they get a wee bit. I still get fucking anxious if I speak to him now, you know what I mean? Just because of who he is and stuff like that. But great guy. He sat down, and his first comment was like, before we start, I don't care if you don't want to play football again. Like, I'm here to make sure you're alright, and whatever you need me to do, as one of my boys, I'll make sure you get the help you need, stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Gary's sitting next to him, Green, whatever else. So we have a big chat and whatever else, and I agreed I would take some time off. He's like, take as much time as you need. He's like, there's no pressure for you to come back. He's like, so that was 5 weeks or something like that. I went back into training Monday just to get out of the house and get whatever else. Went into training, never trained, just spoke to the boys and stuff, and standing outside the park, and Gary's like, are you ready to come back in? And I'm like, I don't know, man. And he's like, well, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, well, I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I'm in the right headspace for it and stuff. He's like, you've had 5 weeks though. And I'm like, alright. I was like, is that enough time in your books? Like, he's like, well, I don't know, you tell me. I'm telling you, I don't know. Like, chairman's asking questions whether you're coming back or not, because if you're not, we're going to have to find another striker. I'm like, so you're talking about fucking releasing me then? Nah, that's not what I mean. I'm like, well, yeah. If I'm not coming, if I don't know what I'm doing and you're talking about bringing somebody else in, then I was like, you're fucking putting pressure on me to come back here. no, he's like, I'm probably just being selfish, I just want you back in the team. I was like, right, I'll come back in. Came back, and then ever since then, I was just like, don't trust him. Don't fucking, after the whole thing with Flax, and I just had this wee fucking chip in my shoulder. I had an attitude with him all the time. Do you know what I mean? And the boy Craig Easton in, and for whatever reason, like, Eastie was good. He's phoned me sometimes and other times, and there's other times I'm just not sure about him. Just wasn't sure. And he had me and him had a few words and whatever else, stuff like that as well. So anyway, kept playing, I was back playing and whatever else, and then COVID hits. That's us done for however many months, and then we get back in to start training. And we come back in. Through the lockdown stuff, I'd been feeling really, really like low in energy and just fucked, wanted to sleep all the time. And I've never told them this, right? I've never told them this. And I don't care about telling it now because I'm telling the truth. So I've been in the gym and whatever else. And I got my bloods and all that done. My testosterone levels were fucking rock bottom. And I was like, we weren't playing at the time anyway, so I was just like, spoke to a few folk and they're like, we take fucking like testosterone jags. Like older, I'm talking about an older guy and he's fucking like 50s, 60s.
Like TRT therapy.
Aye. So rather than going through the doctor and stuff, I'm going to fucking like, by this point, when I'm low and feeling like that, it affects my mental health. So I'll try anything. Do you know what I mean? I've tried everything, so I'll try this. So I had three jags over the course of 5 weeks. And you might take one a week. Folk will say it's steroids. It's no steroids, all right? It's testosterone. It's a banned substance in football. Fair enough, all right? I was genuinely taking it because I would have tried it at the time. And I took it and it'd make me feel better. Do you know what I mean? So, but back in first training session, I was back at, the first thing I done was I went up to Gary and I was like, listen, I need to have a chat with you. I was like, I got my bloods done. This is what's happened. This is what I've been taking. I was like, and I want to tell you because I've got that kind of hang maybe you that I feel I can talk to you about that kind of stuff. And he's like, right, okay.
You linked that straight to your mental health, didn't you?
But I says, this is why I'm taking it. I says, because my low moods, my low energies make me fucking feel like shit. Like I say, so this is the reason why I take it. I'm not taking it to get bigger or whatever else, whatever you think. And it's funny because people always like to anybody you're on the fucking roid rage, you know. I've never took any of that in my life.
They link that straight away to you.
Aye. So I told him I was on it, and he's like, right, okay, right, fucking whatever else. And he went away for trying to phone me a couple of days later. He's like, listen, you can't play. I spoke to the chairman and I'm like, for fuck's sake, man, like, see if you went and spoke to somebody and says, listen, you can't do this. I says, if it's going to stop me from doing it, like, I'll come off it, I'll stop it. If it comes to football stuff. I was like, because I know it's, you know me to do it, but I done it when we were on the plane and obviously got the call to go back. He's like, when did you take the last one? I was like, maybe 2 weeks ago. He's like, I said, it's probably out my system anyway. Oh, we need to get your blood test done and all that and this and that. So they get me arranged for the club doctor to get me tested. And I was like, they're like, we can't send you to a clinic because in case it comes out and all that stuff to test for that exact thing that was in your, I think it's testosterone and ethylene or something like that, so it's test E, right?
Testosterone and anfet.
It's something like that, right? So I said, so what you doing? And he's like, we'll get your bloods done, see what your testosterone levels for. I was like, what's the point in that? Like, it's not going to tell you whether it's in my system or out my system. It's going to tell you whether my testosterone levels are low or no. I was like, I took it 2 weeks ago, so it's not going to be doing its job, but it will be back to where it is. I was like,
it's got a half-life of
8
days, I think.
8 days or something.
Yeah, I know. I've studied anabolics and all that as well, and the drug PDF, the drug enforcement when they come in and test and all that, it wouldn't be in the system at all.
So anyway, I ended up after about 4 weeks. All right, got my bloods done. They told them what it told me at the very start before I took the jags, that my fucking testosterone was rock bottom. And I know that the process of this kind of stuff is a long process before you could ever even get prescribed anything like that. It's all about changing your diet. I'm no daft, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've run a gym it's my business, you know what I mean? I know how to. So anyway, met Donald Finlay, came and spoke to me, he's like, fucking basically told me, he's like, listen, we'll get it sorted. It happens again, you're fucking out the door. Fair enough. I was like, I'm not trying to hide it for you. Being honest with you. I was like, and I says that if I had to stop taking it, I would 100% stop taking it. So there was that incident, and then went back to training and stuff like that as well. The Thursday before my very last game against Edinburgh City, we were in training at the Orium and playing wee boxes and stuff like that. So you know it's like boys go in chasing the box out of the line, you're shouting for it, they're not getting you. So you know it's like, man, you're like, for fuck's sake, what's the fucking point? So anyway, me and the boy Kyle Miller's went in with press and whatever else and come back out, and Kyle's moaning, like, I've no even my mouth manager kept my head down. Kyle's like, fucking hell, blah blah, and he's like, Gaffer's like, you fucking moaning it? And he's like, fucking ball's out about 3 yards, and you know what I mean, you're still counting and whatever else and blah blah blah, and the two of them behind me. So I've been in the box and talking to some of the boys in my back in my box. I was like, you might as well just pick the cones up and fucking throw them away because the lines don't mean anything. And he's turned around and he's like, why don't you shut your fucking mouth? I'm like, what? He's like, shut your fucking mouth. I'm like, no, I was fucking talking to them. He's like, you always got fucking something to say, blah blah. I'm like, fucking shut up, man. I was like, you're just having an argument with Kyle there, do you know what I mean? Like,
Who's it, Gary that said that to you?
Aye.
Wow.
Turned around and so me and Tim end up having words, fucking head to head in the training ground and all that, boys getting in between us. I'm like, he's like, today get your stuff and fuck off him. I was like, I will. So I turned my back and then Eastie's shouting there. He's like, fuck you, moaning it. Why don't you just shut the fuck up and go, mate, and blah blah blah. I'm like, I turned around, I'm like, why has this been turned on me? I was like, you were talking with Kyle a minute ago. I was like, I knew you're having a fucking dig. I was like, you don't even know what's happening. I was like, fucking shut up.
They were just jumping on you, typical.
And that's always the same with me. So, and it's not about poor me, that's just what folk do. If something's happened, fucking I must be involved. So anyway, Eastie comes there and he's behind the gaffer and he's fucking mouthing. Oh, fucking shut up, man. And I went and turned my back and he's like, that's it, fuck off him. So at this point, I'm like, fuck this, man. Turned around and I'm trying to go for him. And he's standing behind the gaffer and he's like, fucking, no, come on in, big man, let's go. Like laughing at me and all that kind of stuff. So it ends up August fucking split and whatever else, and me and the gaffer are talking, fucking, and we're like, he's like, Mum, we'll speak about it then. And I'm like, come on in. And the boy's like, no, like thinking, I was like, no, we'll be fine, we'll go upstairs and we'll talk. So I went up and I've just relayed everything that we've just spoke about to him, everything. And he's kind of, at the end of it, he's like, listen, just fucking calm down. He's like, what you want to do? You want to go back there and finish training or whatever? So I was like, well, you told me to fuck off him, so what one is it? If I go home or if I go back and train, will you be alright? I was like, I'll be fine. I went and trained, whatever else, fucked off him after it. And I was like, phoned my wife and told her, I was like, I'm probably not be playing on Saturday. Do you know what I mean? I was waiting for a text or a phone call, but anyway, turns up on Saturday. Named the team, I was in the team. And he came in and spoke to me, he's like, you alright? And I was like, listen, I'm sorry for that night. I was like, I shouldn't have spoke to you like that and reacted. I was like, but at the same time, you fucking didn't help matters, you know what I mean? And near did Eastie. And by this point, Eastie's not even fucking opened his mouth to me. I looked the direction I'm in or whatever else, you know what I mean? He's like, it's fine. So it's not an issue for me. He's like, so just go out and do your best, play. He's rubbed the tap of my head. And out. Half an hour in the game, me and the boy Craig Thompson get into a fucking whatever else. I get sent off. So.
Oh no, fucking hell.
By this point.
Things are just fucking.
Aye.
Oh, Jesus.
So the twos everything in for he did with the ball, but he's come over and he's fucking he swung his elbow. There's no hanging about it. So I've turned around and I've grabbed him by the fucking throat like that. And the twos or whatever else, blah, blah, blah. I end up getting sent off. And I walk in and they come in at half time and obviously the changing rooms are all split up with different, and I'm sitting in my cell and I was fucking raging with myself, man. And he came in and he just opened the door and he's like, just get home. I'm on the bar. And went home, and that was a Saturday. Got a phone call on a Monday night. I was actually sitting in the bath. Phone goes and I'm like, my missus was in talking to him like, it's fucking this Gary Bowen. And he's like, I answered it. I don't like speaking. And he's like, Coxie boy. And I'm like, how you doing? He's like, not so good. I'm going to have to actually leave the club. I'm like, right, okay. I was expecting it anyway. I knew that's what the phone call was. Going to have to ask you to leave the club. I'm like, on, or what? You'll be sacked. I was like, alright. On what grounds? He's like, I don't know yet. I'm like, you can't fucking sack me then, can you? Like, so I've spoke to the chairman and I just can't manage you anymore. I'm like, alright. I was like, okay. So anyway, ended on that. Then that was me away for the club. But they wanted to try and obviously get me to agree to leave. I'm like, I fucking still got my rest of half a year's contract left. I was like, no chance. So we came to an agreement through the PFA and whatever else that they would pay me till the end of January and I would leave. So that's fine. So I left, and through that whole time I was kind of like thinking to myself, I'm like, this just came from way back last year. Like, all these problems and whatever else has happened, and folk don't know the ins and outs of it, and they're just blaming me for turning into a fucking complete idiot. And I was kind of saying to myself, I wonder if the chairman knows the ins and outs of stuff. So I texted him, I says, listen, this was maybe about 6 weeks after, and I says, would you mind if I had a chat with you? He said, absolutely. Just tell me when, where, and we'll meet. And so I met him through Mulgai, and I just gave him the whole thing that I've gave you and stuff like that. And to be fair, he didn't know the half of it. And he apologised to me. He was sorry for the way things had happened and the way things had been left like that. But I genuinely believe that it was a case of, we've had enough of him and his issues, and it's easier for him just not to be here anymore. And I'll never. At the time, I was like, fuck them, man. Like, they've shafted me big time. I still believe they have a wee bit, but at the same time, I thought, see, bearing in mind, like, I think I've made a wee post on Facebook. I was like, fucking loyalty means nothing and fit by that anymore and blah, blah, blah. And he phoned me about the post that had been put up. He was actually kind of laughing when he read it. I mean, he's like, am I laughing kind of thing? But people don't realise that when he gets sacked for Forfa, there was a whole issue going on with his contract and whatever else, and he was wanting to take them to court and all that and blah blah blah, and he phoned me, he's like, you were there when I signed my contract, would you be willing to stand up in court and if it goes to that? I was like, I'm at 100%, whatever you need me to do there. And then the whole sign me if I couldn't beef, I had to beg to leave Forfa, I had to make up stories and all that shit about my missus being pregnant and whatever else to get away from a team who were fucking the league above, to go and play with somebody who are for relegation and whatever else, all because of the loyalty I had for Gary Boland.
And that was the bond, and
that's what I had, and that's what it was doing to me. I would have done anything for him, all right. And that's where I found it so hard that when he needed me and he wanted me, I would have done anything for him, and he's turned around and he's just fucking been like that. And there you go, on your way.
It's difficult. It's such a. As you're telling me, I'm just thinking, I'm writing, obviously, with my fucking mindset awareness campaign, where I talk to people who are suicidal and I try and convince them to get help. And I talk to loads of people that have issues, and all my emails and that, and all the footballers that have wrote in. It's just as similar things. All in that, what you've told me, it's just exact similar things all throughout Scotland teams. And I can just visualise that, the way it heating up and stuff, and people getting nebby, because all they want you to do is play. Just play, fuck your problems, fuck this, forget about that, get in the park, stop greeting, take your stuff home. Don't bring it to football, play, but it's just not the way it works anymore. And then you've got your Easton guy behind the scenes, Neb, and you've got Gary, who probably is under a lot of pressure. You're his star player, like I was at Annan, and I remember Jim Chapman, I get shafted massively. Play, it's on your head, it's on your head, it's on your head. To get that codeine addiction, as you know, ibuprofen's, codeine, I'm doing it, and I'm strapping my leg up and tape so much, man, I could hardly feel my toes, and I'm going on and playing just because I'm the player and they need us, and I'm fucked, I'm depressed, I've not long lost my big brother, you know what I mean? You're a pawn to play, ain't you? It's just play. And it used to heat up when I used to be like, no, listen, I don't know, I'm fucked, man. Then you would get the, fucking this and that and playing all your heats to heats and all that. I can literally picture the story you've just told me there happening. And playing out. He's felt the pressure and he knows to take it out on you because obviously he's not in control of you. Managers hate what they're not in control of. They want to be in control. They don't know about mental health. They don't know about people's issues. You know, there's so many of these players like you playing junior and amateur now who, as you know, they've got more talent than fucking people playing in the Premiership and they can't be managed because people don't know how to manage them.
I think that's where a lot of things started going wrong. Obviously, when I told you I'd lost a bit of respect for the whole, I tried to speak to them about it and it was dismissed.
You then can become a problem in their eyes and they're just like...
Because then I was never I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll question everything. I'll answer back. And that's not
creates a void.
That's not what I had before. It was a different David Cox, you know what I mean? And it's funny because for all the years, man, just it really hurt me actually. It really, really hurt me. Like fucking really emotionally hurt me.
What's the Easton's first name?
Craig.
And it's...
But it's not...
It would have got stopped if he had just... See if he'd just...
Even at that, that's just part of the stuff, but that's what people don't see. But the Gary Bowen thing really hurt me. Like fucking more than anything. Talking about it now is getting me a bit, because I felt I was like that with him, do you know what I mean? But I knew I was going to bump into them again when I went and played with Alloa Rovers and stuff like that. And I was standing in the middle of the park talking to the boys and all the Cow and Beef boys coming on and shoot my horn. And I actually stood there and the boy, like, I could see Easty walking out. And I'm like, please don't try and speak to me. Like, because I hate that confrontation shit. Do you know what I mean? But I've got to set myself at the place now where I'm like, if you've done me wrong, like, fuck you, man. Do you know what I mean? He's actually come up to me and done that. He stood right next to me and he's like, he's always shaking my hand and I'm like, and he's like, really? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me on? Like, you're fucking part of this problem. Like, don't remember the last fucking training session? He's like, oh, fair enough, and walked away. And then fucking Gary Bowen walks in the park and looks up and he's like, Coxie boy, and I was just like, and just fucking walked away, man. How like that's what, how do I think it's just football and it's just business that
you're just pawns, isn't
it? When I felt, do you know what I mean? You've seen how fucking emotional I felt there, do you know what I mean? And aye, it was hard, and a lot of Cow and Beef fans have, he's crossed the line this time and he's at when they don't know the fucking first time it's happened.
This is the thing, fans never know what goes on in the club. See, whenever I read anything in Scotland, it's like, what's happened here, what's happened in this club, this player's done this, I always question it. I'm like, listen, that probably didn't happen, that probably happened, and then the manager, I remember the manager coming out, Jim Chapman coming out and saying to the Sun, he doesn't want to play for this club. Or he's just not interested, he doesn't want to play. I'm like, fuck off, mate. I fucked my knee about 5 times, you fucking idiot.
I find that difficult to hear because how much respect I've got for Jim.
I know.
And you don't realise that.
I know you were close to Jim. Jim loved you to pieces. Listen, he liked me as well, he just wanted to play.
No, I know, but you just don't. It's hard to hear these things.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Literally.
I went to America with him as in a select for South Lanarkshire and played in the Children's International Games and stuff like that, and fucking I loved him, man, and he loved me, and even we played against Annan, and I remember at the end of the game, the last game of the season, where we get beaten the last day to lose the title to Arbroath. Like, I was in tears in the park and he was up cuddling me, and it's fucking, there you go, man.
Just shows you how people impact you and stuff. That was it. He doesn't want to play for the club. And I'm sitting in there doped up in cocodamals and everything. He had to drop me on the way back for games and training. He would pull in the hard shoulder when the traffic was there, right? The boys will remember this. Let me get out the car to take pressure off my knee because it was so swollen and fluidy. to give myself a wee breather, to get back in the car and sit back in the car on my trip on the way home, because it was fucking throbbing. Mental torture, mate. Your brother's died, you're fucking lonely. 349 mile round trip I took to training, and it was a disaster. I still love him to pieces. I still love, you can't not love Jim, but it was nearly ruined my life. I wouldn't be here if I didn't recover a wee bit better than how I did, you know. A lot of miscommunications, as you say. Miscommunications for the physios. Fans at Annan are the best ever. They loved me to pieces, and some of the people at the club were just...
It was a great club. I really enjoyed it.
They were just frightening. I've not got a better word to say about that club. They're just amazing. They take my heart. But what happened there, you know, and the stuff behind closed doors, even the chairman thought it was in my head, you know what I mean? It was a lot of shite. But it is what it is, these things in football. But these things can ruin lives. If I was a wee bit weaker, and I was at a point there where I would have took my own life for sure. I was so close to it from that. Sitting and then when you're sitting, I remember going with Gus McPherson, phenomenal with me, so he was a great guy, and he just handled me differently, let me play, and my confidence was back, and I was playing, and we were at training on a Thursday night at Queen's Park, and my knee just had it, and I've went to, I mean, I'm only 12 stone at the time, you know what I mean, small, and I've went to hit a left foot shot, and my knee's just literally like a slingshot, like a baseball bat has hit a wall. They're all coming over and bolting and all that, and it just shows. After it, he came to the hospital and he was just like, "You've had it so difficult. You should never have been treated that way. Seen how hard you worked for us and stuff like that. Seen you would roll over and do anything to make people happy, and now you're sitting in a hospital bed, probably never play again." These things need to be.
See, that's where
need to be
fixed. When I was in the hospital with my throat and that, and Bobo and Flax travelled back from Wales to come up and see me fucking in the hospital ward and stuff like that as well, and that's how I've been through so much with them that I find it for the both of them, it's not Bobo and Flax. I mean, I really find it and still find it hard, even when I talk about it, like it's hard to think how close you felt to somebody and you would have done anything for them as a player, and played through many injuries, and as you say, and then for them to just, whether he was under pressure for the chairman, whether it wasn't, but as far as I'm concerned, the chairman never knew the half of it.
Well, I think the thing is, what I've got is football comes first. That's it. No matter what. It doesn't matter if you've tried to kill yourself 50 times, do you know what I mean? Football comes first, see you later. And then they just sign someone else, and football moves on quicker in a week in Tenerife. And we're not feeling sorry for ourselves. All it is let's get better things in place. Let's manage injured players better. That's mostly what I get. People who are injured and just get left in a heap, you know, no support. People who, the worst thing is what we've got in mental health, with you getting left in a fucking hospital. How many times have we read of people committing suicide, trying to commit suicide? They get saved, they go to the hospital, they get left alone, they come out and commit it. I said in the last podcast, the guy that came out and walked in the motorway and just killed himself.
You can understand why.
There's no cunt there.
When the people who are there, who are supposed to, when you're in an environment where you're supposed to be safe, you're basically just looked at as though, if we've not got time for this, you'll be seen when you're seen, type thing.
I mean, going back to the Chappie thing, I love Chappie. I fell in love. He's a guy you fell in love with, and as long as I was playing, he was the best person in the world to me. But obviously, things has frustrated him. Physio was not saying a good message. Maybe I've been a bit harsh, but you know, I remember I was struggling with money at the time, travelling all the time, and he lent me 80 quid for the night out and all that. He was phenomenal. Never asked for it back and all that, and he was just a great guy. But that, ultimately, the decisions fucked my life up for many years, man, and made me walk with a wee tiny limp for a bit, and you know, and it's my quality of life was fucked. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't squat down at all to show any of my clients exercises, just because I played through that for 2 years. You know, and there's more people that's been there, and I think you going and speaking in schools. I mean, what do you think, before we finish? We're just at the end. It's been a long 2 hour road. What do you think, if someone was to sit down to you and say, right, Coxie, write a business, write a structure going forward. How can we bring mental health and how can we look after our players better? What do you think? What's the ideas you would put forward? What are you thinking?
Obviously, I know we're talking about football, but I think it needs to come from a level for school.
Of course.
Need to talk to children.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the social media platforms now that's putting so much pressure on youngsters, and they don't know how to deal with their emotions, they don't know what's happening with them, they don't know this, they don't know that. And I've spoke at schools a few times about what I've been through, and I've been very open, and it's scary to hear. I remember I went to Braidhurst, Motherwell, and I told them a wee bit about my story and stuff like that as well. And the kids didn't want to speak about it, but what they did was they wrote on a piece of paper, and obviously for over 10 minutes they wrote in their problems or whatever they wanted to ask and that, and they just gave it to the teacher and I got it in a big bundle like that. And some of the stuff you're opening about people's dads killing themselves and brothers and how they've been brought up with this and they've been brought up with that. And these are kids, and they're never shown or explained or taught about their feelings or their emotions or how to be able to speak to people, how to be able to approach people, what these feelings and emotions mean for them, and that it's okay to feel like that. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, whether you're a boy or a girl or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It needs to come for that level. And a football level, clubs need to have so much more in place. And this whole thing about football just being, it's just about results now. It's not, as you say, you're either in or you're out. If you're not working, we'll find another player. Do you know what I mean? And up here, you're year to year. See if they can see you out for your year, and fucking as soon as you get you out the door, it's done. They don't need to worry about it anymore, which is wrong.
Is that bad? It's year to year, isn't it?
Year to year.
And everyone's scrapping for the old contracts.
And then you've got your youngsters that are at full-time clubs, like I was at Kilmarnock. You get through those 3.5, 4 years of being involved with first team and whatever else, and then it's just, there's the door.
Need support.
There you go.
I know
See
I
you
talked
later.
about this with Ryan Stevenson when he was on. There's a lot that needs to be done in football, and it is that sport that we love so much. We're all so passionate about it. And it's a really tough sport, but it's too easy to just go, oh, it's just a dog-eat-dog sport, it's just a tough sport, let's move on.
No.
It's not the way the world's going, especially with male mental health, especially with youngsters. And was it Man City, the young boy, and a couple of other young boys committed suicide after getting after, as you just said, you're out the door. They don't see you. That's my dream. Boom. Dead. 15, 14, 15, 16
That's a
years
scary
old.
thing, mate.
It's not good enough
It's
for
the
us.
age.
We're not, me just moving into coaching now with my wee amateur team. I was speaking to them today, and I'm just making sure that level of care is there. If you've not got money to play and stuff like that, or you're struggling to save, come speak to me. If you need me, come speak to me. If you're playing with an injury and you think it's going to do you more harm in the long run, come speak to me. And you don't play, you rest. Don't care if you're the best player of the team and we need you to win the league. I don't give a shit. Yous are more important. You look after yourselves, you look after each other. You look after me, I look after you, and that's how we go forward. And it's just maybe from grassroots, we keep doing that.
There's too much pressure putting youngsters now.
It's
They
mental.
play football.
You seen the dads scrapping at the side of the park and all that?
The abuse that some coaches give youngsters as well.
12-year-old, get your fucking act together and all that, you stupid wee bastard and all that. And
It's not good enough.
It's
That's not even there for them to enjoy anymore. It's just constant fucking young boys in training 4 or 5 times a week.
because we think that's the way it should be, because we think we're the men that know,
Aye.
It's just, you're right, it's not good enough. But I want to say first of all, thank you for coming on.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
I want to say thank you for coming on. This podcast is coming on, speaking about this is something I've wanted to do for a while. Get really in depth with someone about it. As I said, you've been a fantastic servant in the game as well. Fantastic player, scored some phenomenal goals. Probably had a few great punches in there too, knocking people out with the old anger. But mate, never give up. From me to you, I won't. You won't. Never give up, mate. You're so much better here, and I think I hope you can go and speak at schools. I know a school right now that would want you to go and speak, and I'm going to set that up. Know the headmaster well. He would love you to go and speak to their pupils. So hopefully you can set something up. It's hard to open it up about your mental health. I'll leave you with one last question. Have you ever felt weak when you've opened up? You ever felt too weak? Have you ever felt like opening up makes you weaker and stuff? We're trying to get this message out that
I've not felt weak. I've felt vulnerable. I've been scared to open up, scared about what people think. Still to this day, you look at the comments I've had off the back of the incident a couple of weeks ago has been unbelievable. I've had thousands of messages, like my phone's not stopped. It's crazy. But I don't think it's ever going to change the fact that there's going to be people out there who are going to do their damnedest to make you feel like shit or to say something bad about you. Like all those thousands of comments I've had, one negative comment will be the one that sticks in my head. But what I'll say to people is that we need to really try and concentrate on the good, and that they're a minority compared to the people that are there and are willing to help and understand. For the people who do say those things and are dismissing and whatever else, it says more about them than it does about us. But at the same time, maybe they've never experienced it, and let's hope they never experience it in their lifetime, because they'll know all about it.
I wouldn't wish what goes on in my head and my worst enemy, and that's the truth. You know, Paul's seen me in some states in here before, but it takes a lot for me to do these podcasts, man, and sometimes I was hammering propranolol before it and all that to slow my heart down and to stop the demons. But this fight's hard, but it's so worth it to fight and to be here, to give back. You know, I think people like me and you, when we've survived what we've survived, we need to give back. I think that's very important, and maybe get ourselves into positions where we can have a direct impact on things. It's weird because you see all the comments have come in and the newspapers went mental about it. Then it just seems to be another article that's just caused controversy and went by and there's nothing done about it. There needs to be people stepping up and made accountable in football to create a safer environment. That's why this time I'm going to get my head into some stuff and see what I can do that does make a difference. And as you say, it's whatever makes the headlines these days, and then they'll find something else. But it's our job to then push forward, keep doing things you're doing with us. I would keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully come up with something that we can put out to clubs and youngsters. And I think we need to appreciate as well, this is not about us anymore. We've had our time, we've played football, we've had great fun playing it and lifted trophies and all that. This is for, like, my son's 15 months old. I don't want him growing up in football like that. There's many parents now that just go, no, I'm not putting my son into football now, there's too much shite that comes with it. There's many people making this decision now. You know, I know so many people now that are like, no, he's not going into football, or she's not going into football. It's too much that comes with it. It's too much from what they're seeing on TV with fans, or what they're seeing, all the racism and all that stuff. It's not their thing anymore. And my son's fucking football daft. He's out playing every day and he's only 15 months old. And I just want him to be safe in that environment and to enjoy it and not go through what his dad went through. But listen, thank you for coming on, guys. Follow David on his Instagram. What's your Instagram?
David Cox _fitness.
David Cox _fitness. And then, are you on anything else?
Facebook. My business page is Flex Fitness Motherwell.
Flex Fitness Motherwell. Probably wants to keep his private account to himself for a bit of peace. Are you on anything else yet?
Nah, stick to it.
If anything else gets set up, and he does set up an infrastructure in football, I will let you know. Please press the subscribe button and let me keep raising awareness on the difficult issues today. It's hard to talk about, it's hard to open up about, but it's absolutely necessary and it's needed. We need to save our young boys and girls, and we need to stop the suicides we're seeing. We need to try our hardest and do our damn to stop this madness that's going on. Pressures of society is enough without the stigma attached to mental health. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, subscribe, click the wee bell, like, and thank you, David, for coming on.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you.